And now we continue to the last console generation, a time filled with many gimmicks for Sonic. There are 3 games released for the Sega Dreamcast: the very popular Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2, and the lesser-known Sonic Shuffle. Now, Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 were so popular that they were re-released for the GameCube as Sonic Adventure DX and Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. Now, Sonic Adventure DX featured bonuses such as having all of the Game Gear games in it, and Sonic Adventure 2 Battle had an expanded 2-player mode. So, let's get started. Okay, we're going to start with Sonic Adventure. I actually dragged my Dreamcast out of storage so that I may play the original game with, and first of all, I'm just glad that this thing worked because it's been in the box for so long. Alright, now, Sonic Adventure. Sonic Adventure was to fill the role for the Dreamcast what the first Sonic did for the Genesis, and that is to show off all of its capabilities, and this time, our beloved mascot had a little bit of tenure. Now think of how this game came out. The Dreamcast was Sega's swan song. We had just seen the 32X, the Sega CD, and even the Sega Saturn fail. Desperate to prove that they could be cutting edge and ahead of the curve in the console market, Sega put out what, at the time, the most advanced console that existed, brimming with amazing 3D graphics, and this Sonic game is just made to showcase all of it, with all of its speed, all of its color. This was just fantastic. Now, a little bit about the Dreamcast. It didn't last very long. A lot of people say the PlayStation 2 ousted it. That is true, but it's not what most people speculate to be the fact that this couldn't play DVDs, because GameCube couldn't play DVDs either, and it did just fine. No, the reason the Dreamcast failed and we weren't able to get more wonderful Dreamcast games like this one is because of unethical, disloyal fans who chose to burn their own games onto gigabyte discs rather than purchase them at game stores. But let's start. Okay, the primary gimmick of Sonic Adventure was that you could play as 6 characters, each with their own mode of play. We'll start, of course, with Sonic. Now, Sonic Adventure featured this big old hub world here, which was, I think, to show off the cool 3D modeling capabilities of the system. It really serves no real purpose, and whenever it pops up in later games like Sonic 06 and Sonic Unleashed, people do nothing more than wish it was gone. But, it was a nice addition for this game. And now let's go to the action stages. Sonic's action stages are, of course, what everybody wishes the 3D games could be like again. It's basically just Sonic running through this big old map. You can explore. It's much better in both controls and your ability to run around places than either Sonic 3D Blast or Sonic R. So this is basically 3D done right. You have a rich 3D environment to run around in, and you have control of Sonic's iconic speed. This is something that only the Dreamcast was capable of doing at the time, and they just made a really epic and fun little play mechanic. It was great. But let's move on. We're going through Tails. As I said, everyone had their own method of play, and Tails' levels were essentially similar to Sonic's levels, except he was always challenged to beat either Sonic or, in the last level, Eggman to the end of the level before they could get there. Now, looking at how the camera is locked behind you and you're encouraged to get to the finish line as quickly as possible, these Tails stages are actually the most similar to what 3D Sonic games are like now. The daytime stages in Sonic Unleashed, Sonic and the Secret Rings, and Sonic and the Black Knight all look a lot more like this. But let's move on to Knuckles. Knuckles' game was the introduction to something other than high speed and getting to the finish line in Sonic games, and that is the Emerald Hunts. So as you can see, the first ones, you have your little radar, and this little glowing ball, which is Tikal's spirit, that flies towards where the nearest emerald shard is. So Knuckles' task is to run through the level and try to find those pesky emerald shards, because Chaos shattered the Master Emerald at the beginning of the game. So it's a little bit clumsy at times. This is really the first time a Sonic game has tried this, but those emeralds are findable. Look, I just collected one, and it blew up a pirate. Haha. Okay, now let's go on Amy. Now, I wonder why no one ever called the fact that you can see right up her skirt every time she jumps, but I'm not going to get into that right now. So, Amy Rose. Her levels are similar to Sonic's, in that she has to run through them and get to the finish line. And other than that, there's no real goal. But, it's set at a slower pace, and her primary means of attack is her Pico Pico hammer. And of course, the entire level she's pursued by this big green robot, Zero. If Zero catches Amy, you lose a life. So it adds a little bit sense of danger. Like you always have to run away from this robot or he'll kill you. And the robot is essentially immortal. You can't kill him. You can use your hammer to stun him. In this little hall of mirrors, I demonstrate with a good old smacking. After he fails to catch me with his rocket fist, I just leap back and pow, right in the kisser. It can be pretty fun. Pow, right in the kisser. Unfortunately, each time you knock him back, he stays down for less time. Now, Big the cat. God, I hate this cat. I hate him so much. What does Big the cat bring to the table? Oh, it's a fishing game. It's okay in Legend of Zelda, where gameplay is sedate and slow-paced to begin with, but this is frickin' Sonic the Hedgehog. The music for big stages is annoying when he catches these fish. All you do is push the button to reel it in. And how do you lose lives? How does Big the Cat lose lives? Why, when his lure snaps. That's right, if the string breaks, you lose a life. Ugh, I hated that. But let's move on to E102 Gamma. His gameplay aspect was actually pretty darn fun. Yes, E102 Gamma is really the Sonic team's first example of an over-the-shoulder shooter game. I shouldn't say Sonic Team, but in a Sonic game. So yeah, but you don't actually have to shoot the targets yourself. You just sweep a targeting laser across to acquire targets, and then he handles all the shooting for you. So it's actually a very simple shooting game, but you know what? Simple's good. Simple's fun. Simple worked for Sonic all these years, so yeah. Nice, simple shooter. That works. Now there's one more mode of play, and that's the Sky Chase Zone. The Sky Chase Zone was fantastic in this game. It's essentially like Star Fox was. You fly, you avoid getting hit by projectiles, and you lock on targets and shoot them out of the sky. It works almost exactly like Star Fox did. There were 2 levels featuring this in the game, and they were fun. Now they tried to bring something like this back in Sonic Unleashed, but it boiled down to just a 7-minute long QuickTime event. Nothing like this. Nothing quite like Sky Chase Zone. Alright, I'm short on time, so instead of continuing on to Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Shuffle, here's a charming Gurren Lagann themed picture that I posted on my DeviantArt gallery. Isn't that cool? Anyway, I'll pick up with Sonic Shuffle and Sonic Adventure 2 very soon. Look forward to it.